Here's the completed corpus, top and back and sides all together. Now we set that aside and we move on to the scroll, and I laminated two 3/4 inch pieces of that poplar together, and that gives me a joint looks like that. See that? Kind of neat looking, the grain. So we cut out the scroll, rough it out, and we start to carve. After you've cut out your basic shape for your scroll out of your block, the first thing you do is you're going to get the taper that matches the taper of the fingerboard scribed on top, and you're going to cut those two pieces off. And that gives you something that looks like this. And then you mark out your peg box, you get a nice center line, you start making your outline of your future scroll. I have a little template I made out of, it's like cardstock paper. This has lasted for quite a few violins. And you just put it on, wrap it right around, and trace it. And it will give you your basic shape, and then of course a little extra sketching in there and making it look just right. Then one of my favorite little tricks is for this bottom part of the scroll here. Probably has a name, I don't know what it is. I have a bent quarter. Take your little bent quarter in here and trace her out, and it gives you a nice curve to end the scroll, or whatever this is called. Just like that. This is the next step in the process. You mark out your scroll and you make cuts, allowing you to chip away excess wood. But I will not belabor the scroll making process, as there are plenty of YouTube videos out there doing a really good job of it. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. I'm sitting in the shop enjoying a cup of coffee, and I'm finished for now carving this scroll. I'm pleased with it. Of course, there's minor touch-ups when I get her all done. Now I'm on to the peg box, and then a few other things back here like carving the neck. I have finished the scroll and peg box and the neck. This is poplar, remember, and the heel, and I do kind of a cathedral window on my violins. And then we've taken the corpus of the body and we've cut what amounts to a dovetail joint right there. And we fit the neck to the body right in there nice and tight. And it's important to set this angle. It's called the projection. So my next step is to glue this together, and then I can fit the fingerboard. As you can see, our neck is attached, and it's starting to look like a fiddle. Next step is to fit the fingerboard, double check my angle of projection, and what that is, we are projecting in an imaginary line right across the fingerboard to where the bridge sits. And we want that projected height to be 26.5 to 27 millimeters. Small margin of error. I have this little gadget to help me. I set it on here and it helps me check to make sure I'm right on the money. Now this morning we were off a hair. I took some of these shavings off with my little plane just to get things right. Next we shape the fingerboard. Double check this shape. I have some carving to do on the back side, and we're going to apply this 2 tiny drops of hide glue so I can do my final shaping. We'll snap it off and we're off to the final finish. Well, I lied, sort of. I did do the button and the saddle and the little cathedral window, and I couldn't stand it any longer. I stayed up late last night and accidentally strung this fiddle up. Got the bridge carved, a sound post in, and I'm playing a Home Depot 2x8 floor joist, and I'm smiling about it. Let me give you a couple of notes, alright? Not bad at all. Alright, well I gotta tear her apart now and put on my final finish so we can be done with the Home Depot violin project. I taped off the saddle and the nut and where the fingerboard attaches, and I've done all my little touch-ups, and I feel confident that it's as good as it's ever gonna be. I usually use a varnish, and let me tell you, I am far from any kind of an expert on finishes. I know varnish is good. Turning a violin orange and making it look antique, I don't know. I'm still learning. I decided to try something new, or new to me, a traditional finish, shellac. And apparently it's made from something that bugs crap out all over branches in Asia or India. Read about it, it's interesting. This amber has a nice color, and I noticed it tends to settle in the pores and it brings out the grain, which is nice. My only worry would be that it would settle in places where the grain is raised from carving, because we go against and with the grain on the violin. So I'm going to do a clear, one coat of clear as a sealer, and then, I don't know, 3-4 coats of this amber, and see how it comes out. It's an experiment, so we got to be fearless and go for it. No complaints so far. See how she looks on the front. Got a nice color. I'd say it's probably a little more on the yellow side of the spectrum than maybe I would have liked. It would have been nice to have a little reddish brown in there. That's okay. It really wants to dry quick. It doesn't like my brush strokes, but it seems to thin right out as long as I keep the brush wet enough. Hey, it's a new day, new hat. In the interest of full disclosure, I am not in love with brushing shellac. It dries so quick, and if you watch how I spread it across and then worked it down. That's how you do varnish. It does not work with shellac. You need to work off a wet edge and just work it down because you have seconds. So I sanded her down with 220 grit sandpaper. See, it looks a little streaky and all. You know, and I did distress some of the edges a little bit. You know, I kind of like that antique look. So I'm going to set her up and spray it with my gun. Just using my automotive touch-up gun. Got the pressure set to 22 psi. Pretty light. You know what's funny? I'm not worried about overspray because shellac melts into itself. The sun's taken off on me and it's going to rain. Just wanted you to see the color of the shellac in the sun. It's beautiful. Indoors it doesn't pick it up. But out here, this thing glows. This is okay. I am loving this shellac business. Now I'm going to head in and start putting this back together. Well, she's all done. Check her out. There she is. There's a nice look at the scroll. Came out pretty decent. I'm happy. Look how this thing glows and shimmers in the light. See that? Boy, that is sharp. Really pretty. Here's the back of the scroll, the neck. Here's how the cathedral window came out, and here's that nice poplar back. Not really exciting to look at, but it's nice looking. I like it. Here's the side of the instrument. Try to give you a pan shot. That's the nice oak side. I am not displeased. Well, here we are. The moment we've been waiting for. The Home Depot Fiddle is all done. Now I'll try to squeeze a couple notes out without embarrassing myself. I'm going to dedicate this song to my beautiful wife. Not bad. I am loving this fiddle, actually. A 2x8 floor joist, a poplar shelf, and a scrap of oak from the local big box store. I hope you love it too. Catch you later.